Friday, June 10th, 2016. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. The funeral of Muhammad Ali is occurring today in Louisville, Kentucky. It will be televised on many TV outlets. Former President Clinton is going to speak, and there are hundreds of foreign dignitaries there from around the world. 90 days after taking over the helm at Zurich Insurance Company, the CEO Mario Greco announced his intention today to simplify the overall structure of the carrier as part of a strategy to turn its fortunes around. He spoke to journalists in a media call earlier today. He said the strategy, which will see the life and non-life businesses combined, as well as a new regional structure introduced, would put the company in a much better position to respond to what's going on in the market. He also confirmed that the new structure would result in layoffs, but he would not be drawn into any discussion as to how many layoffs or what the potential cost savings from the restructure would be. And instead, what he focused on was the rationale for the revamp and not the cost savings. He said it was more to do with simplifying a notoriously complex structure. Greco said, quote, "We're simplifying and reducing the famously complicated structure of Zurich Insurance, but there is much more to be developed internally." Zurich had previously said it was targeting at least $1 billion in annual savings by the end of 2018. Zurich is currently trying to sell its businesses in South Africa, Morocco, and Taiwan, the non-life business, having already judged them as non-core businesses. Those decisions were taken before Greco's arrival in the first week of March. The insurance industry loss attributable to claims payouts for damage to dwellings from the earthquakes that struck the Kumamoto region of Kyushu, Japan in April are now at about $2.56 billion. The figure continues to rise. It jumped about 16% from the 30th of May to now, and the eventual loss paid by reinsurance or ILS capital providers is certain to increase as well. With now about $2.56 billion of claims paid, some 85% of the claims inquiries have now been settled. So this does suggest there's going to be more room for more claims. Probably will hit the $3 billion mark once all the claims are paid. On Tuesday night in northern Germany, a tornado touched down in Hamburg, blowing off the roofs of several buildings, uprooting dozens of trees, damaging cars, and knocking out a power line. As storms across Europe this spring continue to reap destruction, more than 1,000 firefighters worked to clear the streets in the area where the tornado touched down. One firefighter official said that the tornado knocked down more than 50 huge trees. It's a miracle nobody was hurt. Insurers are facing higher than expected claims related to floods and storm damage after torrential rains and floods have hit Germany and France. The difficulty, of course, is that only about 1/3 of the dwellings actually have flood insurance. More than 120,000 jobs in the UK relating to the oil industry will be wiped out thanks to the crash in the price of oil. This is according to a report by the Oil and Industry Lobbying Group called Oil and Gas UK. The report says that an estimated 84,000 jobs were lost in 2015 and that another 40,000 more jobs are expected to go this year. At its 2014 peak, the UK offshore oil industry supported about 453,000 workers directly and indirectly. The head of the group, Deirdre Mishi, said that there are still 20 billion barrels of oil and gas still to recover. The region is very much open for business. If she's right, in fact, that would mean that the total reserves in the North Sea are larger than those of Brazil, which would put the North Sea itself, if it was an independent entity, at number 15 in the world insofar as oil reserves that are proven is concerned. According to Goldman Sachs, recently, with the increase in the price of oil now up to about $50 a barrel for Brent crude, oil could be recovering, which would be good news for the UK. What's not good news is in Alberta, Canada, after weeks and if not months of terrible damage as a result of wildfires, which miraculously did not cause the loss of one life, they're now facing another specter, the peril of flooding. The area is expected to receive some 2.6 inches of rain over the next 72 hours, which is expected to cause flash flooding and washouts of rivers, creeks, and culverts. The government in Alberta says that the rain is increasing hazardous conditions caused by eroding soil around damaged and charred trees. The government still maintaining the ban on fires and off-highway vehicles as the forest is expected to dry out again. French President François Hollande has warned against attempts to disrupt Euro 2016 with labor strike actions as the football or soccer tournament gets underway. France has been in the grip of industrial labor strike actions over reforms to proposed labor laws. Train drivers are threatening to strike on a line serving the Stade de France in Saint-Denis, just outside Paris, where France is to play Romania in the first match this weekend. Meanwhile, in Marseille, a brawl between two English soccer fans ended up with police coming to fire tear gas. Football fans arriving in Paris and other cities in France this week have been greeted by the sight and smell of uncollected garbage as trade unionists have blockaded municipal incinerators. The country is also on high alert because of the jihadist attacks in Paris back in November, and they're still recovering from the flood damage that we've been reporting on that inundated Paris. Difficult times in France. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll be back and tell you. Have a good weekend. Thank you for watching. We'll see you Monday.